Ever since Modern Warfare came out back in 2019, the 725 has always been a point of contention. In the beta, it was complete crap. I don't know if you guys remember the beta, but the 725 and the Model 680 were really bad. Of course, at launch, things changed and the 725 was an absolutely broken shotgun, and fast forward to today, it's in a much better spot. Some might say it's a bad gun. I don't know who, not me definitely, but probably someone out there who misses those free kills at 20 meters with insane hipfire. And while the 725 has basically gotten weaker and weaker with each update to it, slugs on the 725 have only gotten better. And with this last update, it really does show now in Warzone specifically. They've always been decent in multiplayer, but in Warzone, they were terrible before this update, as were the rest of the slug shotguns because of the piss poor damage they did. I am happy to say now that the 725 can indeed snipe people properly, and yes, it can one-shot in the head at any range, seemingly infinite range, but it isn't all good when it comes to slugs here, and you'll see why soon. When it comes to slugs on this gun, it now performs much better than it ever did in Warzone, but it is not an easy setup to use by any means. In fact, it can really be pretty dang hard both up close and far away, so it is definitely something newer players are going to struggle with getting used to now, since you have to aim down sights practically all the time using it. I want to go ahead and go over the damage and how it performs, and go over some tips as well as the problems you may run into when using this setup. First off, let's talk damage, which is what everyone I'm sure wants to know about. Back before this last update, slugs even on the 725 would take 4 headshots to kill and 5 torso shots and then 8 limb shots, which is pretty pathetic. And when I talk about slugs, it's hard for me not to mention how many shots it took to kill someone because it's just so ridiculous and strange to me that it would be that many. The damage and range values for this gun are simple, and here they are. As you can see, this is it. These values basically extend to infinity from what I can tell, and there doesn't really seem to be a drop off, at least in any reasonable distance. I mean, we're talking like 200 meters and the damage didn't change at all. So what you see here is pretty much what you get, which is pretty cool, right? Now let's analyze these. So headshots will always be a one-shot kill, no matter what. If you hit the head at 10 meters, 40 meters, or 200 meters away, they will be downed. And if you have the Crimson Pool variant and you kill the squad, you'll get to see the last person's head explode, which is so satisfying. This damage seems to apply to the upper chest area as well, so it will still down them with an upper chest shot. I will say it's a little bit harder to test that at range because you don't really know what you're hitting besides maybe just the head. Lower chest and shoulders, it will deal 140 damage, so it will take 2 shots, and then with everything else, it's going to take at least 3 shots or so. So you really need to be aiming high with this one, and I cannot recommend that enough. When I play with it, I consciously aim for the head and try to get those headshots. I never really did that before, but now I do, and I've kind of trained myself to really go for it with this gun. Now the deal is, with slugs, you're going to want to aim down sights pretty much 100% of the time, even up close. This can really reward accuracy, but at the same time, it can leave you completely screwed over. So since we have basically just one set of damage range and values, what's the point of even running the different barrels? First off, the barrels and the choke as well do help mitigate what spread the slugs do have. If you didn't know, slugs do have some slight spread that makes it hard to hit targets at really long distances, and with the bigger barrels and the choke, you can really mitigate how much it spreads. Taking a look at this picture, you can see that the Tempest smoothbore and the sawed-off barrel have the most spread, while the competition barrel has the best and tightest one. Equipping the choke helps a lot, and you can see on the far right the choke with the sawed-off barrel just to see how much it can help, and it does seem to help quite a bit. So if you really want to truly snipe people, the choke is almost always a good attachment to run, although that isn't how I use this gun really, and as a note, the suppressor has no effect on range or spread from what I was testing. What about bullet velocity and travel time? Well, this is where slugs fall short, literally. Slugs have a slower travel time and have a good bit of drop after maybe, I don't know, 70 to 80 meters or so. This makes sniping, again, really difficult. It's kind of like the crossbow, but with better bullet drop. It's not quite as steep as the crossbow, but at far ranges, you're gonna have to lead and aim higher than your target. In a practical setting, this is actually kind of tough to do, especially against a sniper who has virtually no drop at the same range you're at. So in Plunder, the sniping is fun for trick shots and just kind of goofing around, but in Warzone, I don't really recommend rocking this thing as a primary alone and actually trying to snipe with it, except maybe for goofing around like I said. You're better off with a sniper rifle, of course, but I know some of you will probably do it anyway in hopes of getting some funny reactions from the people you kill with it, and by all means, go for it, but be warned. When it comes to the barrels, I also wanted to test and see if they affected travel time or bullet drop or anything like that, and this is where things got a little weird. When I was testing from about 150 meters or so, when I had a larger barrel like the competition barrel, it seems like the Slug actually took longer to hit the target compared to the base barrel. Same with the other barrels, although for those it was much less noticeable. For some reason, the competition barrel may be slightly bugged, unless it was some issue from my video editor or something like that, but it took roughly 4 more frames to hit my target with the competition barrel compared to the base barrel. I think the Grau assault rifle had a similar issue according to Exclusive Ace, so I'm not really sure what's going on here. It could maybe use a bit more testing, I'm sure. It doesn't make a huge difference, but it is strange to note. Other than that, the drop is pretty much the same, and there really isn't any big differences. So in theory, yes, the sawed-off barrel is actually pretty damn good, but not for the super precise sniping. As you know, the spread is worse on the sawed-off barrel, but if you play with it like a marksman rifle, it actually works wonders. When I use it, I stick to engagements that don't really go past maybe 100 meters, and even though I do attempt longer range shots, I don't always recommend it because it can get you killed pretty easily, especially with only 2 shots to go through. But for one-on-one engagements, this thing can be pretty dirty and you can definitely tear some people up. But because of the limited ammo, sleight of hand is pretty much always a must for me as well. So because there are so many different ways to use this thing, you can use it for fun, goofy trick shotting sniper shots, or you can use it like a proper rifle and go for the upper chest and head and explode some heads hilariously. If you want to really snipe, like legitimately go for sniping shots, you'll probably want the competition barrel and the choke with the sniper scope because you're going to want to have the least possible slug spread in order to really get those long range shots. Otherwise, you're going to have to aim high and then hope the random spread doesn't bite you in the butt. As for my preferred way to run this gun, here is my class. I usually use the sawed-off barrel, no stock, the 5mW green laser, sleight of hand, and slugs. This setup can be drastically changed as you see fit, of course. For example, some people probably want to use the tac laser instead, but the way I see it, the sawed-off 725 can aim down sights very quick, so I'd rather have a quick sprint out time on top of that and be very mobile in pretty much every way. You could also try taking off the sawed-off barrel and using the base barrel instead, and then you can use the choke in place of that, or maybe use a stipple grip to help with your aim down sights and sprint out time as well, but to a lesser degree than the 5mW laser, of course. Overall, man, this thing is so much fun, but is it overpowered? Man, honestly, I feel like I have to go with no. As a primary, the range is awesome, don't get me wrong, but you have to look at the downsides. 2 shots and then you reload. A steep bullet drop, it's very inaccurate and imprecise at super long ranges, and it's just very difficult to use well overall, and good players will definitely be able to make use of it, but it does take practice, so because of that, I don't want to go and just say that it's blatantly overpowered right now, but oh man, it's so worth it to run. It's just so much fun, and if you haven't, go buy the Nikto Crimson Pools bundle to get the Dismemberment 725. It's so worth it, trust me. Seeing their heads explode is just on another level of satisfying. And that just about does it for this video, guys, so let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this new buff for slugs in Warzone, and specifically for this gun? Do you think they went too far? Do you think it's just right? Or do you think it could still use some tuning and it's a little weak? Either way, if you enjoy weapon breakdowns for Call of Duty, shotgun videos, and guides that go really in depth, or just love Call of Duty overall, be sure to subscribe as I'll be having many more videos to come, especially when Black Ops Cold War comes out. And with all that being said and out of the way, I want to wish you all a happy day/night, and I will see you in the next video.